Hey folks, today I thought I would talk a little bit about progressing your training. And I really struggled with what the right name was to talk about. So, by progressing your training, I'm talking about usually when you're training, you're trying to get faster, improve your fatigue resistance, endurance, etc. So, how do you progress that in order to improve? So, here are kind of some of the basics. So, first of all, your body has a norm. It's technically called homeostasis, and your body loves to be within its norm. So, what's the norm? You might think back to when you first started running. Perhaps doing a mile was really a challenge, but now doing a mile is probably not a very big deal because your body has adapted to running more miles, faster pace, whatever. So it's got this norm, it's got this homeostasis, and as long as you perform within that, your body's nice and happy. The problem is we have to make your body unhappy sometimes in order to change that norm, to make it that your new norm is faster, longer, etc., more fatigue. So what happens is you're going to have some type of a workout that you do. So you can see I've got the blue lines for the norm, and you start that workout and you're in your norm, and some of your workouts, not all of them, some of your workouts you push outside of that norm. You get above where your body's comfort level is. It's a little bit faster than you're used to. It's a little bit longer than you're used to, etc. But you push out of that norm. Now, during that same workout, eventually your body is likely to not only return to the norm, but probably go below the norm. In fact, at the end of that workout, you're kind of almost technically a little bit less fit. Why? Because you're fatigued. So you want the answer to that. Go out and do a 20-mile long run and then say, hey, time to do a 5K. You go, oh, I can't do a 5K. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I've done this 20-mile long run. So there's nothing wrong. You shouldn't be beat up, but you're generally going to be a little bit more fatigued. So your workouts, some of your workouts, usually not more than 1 to 3 a week, depending how much you're running, what you're trying to improve, you're pushing beyond your norm. You're going to settle in a little bit below that, but then that's where the magic starts to happen. So here's that same graph. So you can see down in the middle is where we've kind of bottomed out. It's the end of the workout, but after the workout, the body starts saying, hey, in case this idiot Mark does this again, let's rebuild things a little bit stronger so that we're better able to tolerate that. And what's going to happen is after a period of recovery, we have what's called super compensation, where you can see our new norm, that black line, is kind of above the norm. We're starting to get to a new norm for the body. So what happens with super compensation is, as I said, you've rebuilt a little bit stronger. The body has said, hey, idiot Mark might do this again. Let's be a little bit stronger. And essentially, one of three things, or two things, is going to happen after that. Either you're going to reinforce that. In other words, you're going to push your body that little bit beyond again, or you're going to not do anything with it and you're going to have some decay because that super compensation won't last very long. Your body is going to go back because it likes to get back to that norm. That's one reason that consistency in running is so important, is that you make a little bit of progress, something happens, you can't run, you're going to dip back to your old norm pretty quickly. But if you're looking to reinforce it, you're going to be doing those workouts again, maybe once or twice a week. It depends. It so much varies with what you're going to be doing, but this is over a period of time that consistently getting to that new norm is going to reset what your norm is. So in general, you're going to max out. In other words, after about 4 to 6 weeks of applying this new training, this pushing beyond what your norm is, after about 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to level out. Your body's not going to improve any longer because you have now set a new norm for yourself and you're someplace else. After those 4 to 6 weeks, you kind of have two choices. You apply a new stimulus or recover. Now, you'll note I may recover in a different color. I'm going to go to that first. I'm not talking about a cutback week or something like that, but generally in a year of training, you're probably going to have about a 30-day period, 3 to 4 weeks, that you really dial things back and let the body recover. So depending how long you've been in training, you might need recovery. But in most cases, you're going to apply a new stimulus. You're going to do the entire thing again, except now, because you've set your norm up a little bit higher, you're going to have to do something to push beyond that norm. And that's generally going to come in the form of volume. By volume, how much you're running, or intensity. How much you're running. Marathon training is a perfect example. Maybe you've maxed out at the 16-mile long run. Okay, it's time to go to 18 or it's time to go to 19. You're running more. Instead of 50 miles a week, you're going up to 55 miles per week. Intensity, because the pace that you're running overall, it's more likely going to be, hey, when I was doing my VO2 work, I was doing it at such and such a pace. Now I'm going to do that just a little bit faster because that's a new norm for me. Or it might not be faster, it could be longer. Maybe I'm doing 15 total minutes of track work and I'm going to bump it up to 20 or 25. There's a lot of different variables in there. But I think that the key headlines are, if you want to progress your training, you got to get out of that comfort zone. And I should say also, it's just a little bit. It's like if I told you what is 5 times 98, you don't know it off the top of your head. You'll probably figure that out pretty quickly. But if I said, what's 1,333 divided by 12.5, you're like, I don't know what that is. It's kind of the same thing with training. You want to push just a little bit so your body says, okay, well, let's recover, let's build a little bit stronger. If you push too far, you can get your body to say, and it just kind of gives up because you've done too much. So the secret is pushing a little bit farther. You have about 4 to 6 weeks. If you've been consistent in that time, you should have reset what your new norm is, and now it's almost certainly time to apply a new training stimulus.